Behind the mask.
What up? What's happening, my boy?
What's good, family? Another day in paradise. You know what it is.
Damn right I know what it is. It's end of the year.
Factual.
And it's time to review some things that we've been seeing going on with the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it got a lot to do with the quarterback position.
Yeah, man. One of the, obviously, the toughest position in sports, I think.
No doubt. And, maybe you could say it's equivalent to being the point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want to say. But
Picture. Yeah.
But what I will say is this, is that we've seen something this entire year that we really haven't seen in a lot of years in the past.
Yeah.
Only 6 teams in the AFC have started the same quarterback. And we damn near at the end of the year now.
Yeah.
So it goes to show you the level of importance when it comes to how much are you willing to invest into a backup quarterback, and what exactly does that look like?
Yeah.
Because it's a hard job, man.
It is. I think
It's a hard job. I think it's a very hard job.
The backup quarterback position, or just in general?
I think both.
I think, you know what? I think as much pressure or the toughest job that, as tough as it is to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, I think the backup quarterback position is the best job in sports. Because you're rarely called upon. You get to sit behind a starting quarterback, take notes, watch what they're doing. You don't get the wear and tear on your body. It's like damn near a cakewalk, man. It's beautiful. You get paid well. Backup QBs can last in the league, 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
Maybe start 2-3 years. You know what I'm saying?
So you think is easy?
Hell yeah.
Are you kidding me? Did you just not hear what I just said?
Starting quarterback is tough.
It is. But backup quarterback is even harder. I'm not going to say it's even harder. I said earlier, 6 teams. It's 6 AFC teams.
Right.
Had the same starting quarterback the entire year. Like, that's rare. But let me put it into perspective for you. You say having a backup is easy. Starting quarterbacks out for the season go with the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, the Bengals with Joe Burrow, the Colts, Anthony Richardson, the Browns, Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones from the Giants, Kirk Cousins from the Vikings, and also Justin Herbert. So now you say it's a cakewalk to be able to earn all of this money. Let me tell you why I think it's so hard. Because you have to prepare as if you're going to play. And the hard part is they don't have designated reps, as you know, throughout the week for the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
You have to learn, retain, make a mental note, understand how this receiver runs routes, understand how he runs routes. And then, oh, by the way, in the event, if you're called upon, you have to go out and perform.
Right.
And you saying it's easy. Out of all of the people in the world, Tutan Reyes.
I think it's one of the best jobs in sports. And I say easy, not like it's an easy task to do, but I'm saying, like, stop making me laugh, bro. Nah, but like you said, you're getting the reps. Think of Aaron Rodgers that's out now.
Yep.
Back up behind Brett Favre all these years, right? He waited his time, and then when he got out there, he had an opportunity to do his thing. One of the greatest quarterbacks to play in the league, right?
Right.
I look at my career, and my man Wally Williams, I remember when I first got in the league, he said, I was like, what should I expect? You know, what do I look forward to as a rookie? He said, you ain't got to look forward to nothing. Save up your money. If you chase, have fun. Don't get in no trouble. Don't worry about it, because you're not touching the field. Barring the act of God, you're not touching the field this year.
Wally told you that?
Wally told me that. He said,
damn, Wally.
He said, barring the act of God, you're not touching the field this year. He said, we just drafted Kyle Turley in the first round with the Saints. Willie Rofe is a Hall of Famer left tackle. Wally Williams just got paid at left guard. Chris Naoli was the first round that got drafted. And he said, Jerry Fontenot's the center, snapper. He said, your ass can't snap. So he said, you ain't gonna play this year, barring injury or act of God. And that's just the same thing with the backup quarterbacks. You can name another position besides mine when I did. I got vested without having the offensive snap. So remember we played, what is it, 5 years? Vested.
Yeah.
I got my pension without touching the field, bro. Backup quarterbacks do the same damn thing. That's what I'm saying. It's easy. You chilling, yo. Well-paid spectator.
So how many times did you retain the game plan then?
No, I knew the game plan. You know, you mess up sometimes here and there when you get your opportunity. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is that it's not easy in the sense of anybody could do it. It's easy in the sense that it's not wear and tear on your body.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You have an opportunity to get reps against a first-team defense. So when you're out there, it's not like you're necessarily nervous going against a first-team defense. You get to see the game speed because you're going against a first-team defense. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So I just don't think that. I respect the position. You know what I mean? And like Cam said, you got your game changers and you got your game managers. You know what I mean? And a backup quarterback, you're not expected to come in and be a game changer. You're kind of expected to come in and be a game manager because the team has already established its identity. You know what you are. You know what you're not. You come in there, you're not trying to rewrite the wheel or recreate the wheel or nothing like that. You going in there doing your job, bro.
See, and that's where I want to bring this to a halt. Because when you say you expect for him, I expect for you to come in and be a game manager. Well, do you know how hard it is to be a game manager at the quarterback position? It is freaking hard.
I agree.
And we throw this term around so loosely to where it's thrown around so frequently and loose that it really don't have any credence. It don't have any credible substance that comes along with it. And for me, like I tell you, I played against the best of the best. John Elway, Peyton Manning. I think about Tom Brady. I think about Brett Favre. All of these, Dan Marino, played against all of them. Guess what? All of them were game managers.
Yeah.
And so when we throw it around it, we try to we take away from the connotation of it, of what it means to manage a game. And so for me, I just want to bring that to light because a lot of people jumped on Cam and they was like, oh, Cam, I felt a certain type of way when I heard it. But as I kept hearing him talk, it made sense from where he was coming from. Yeah. He didn't articulate it all to the point of the way that I felt like he should have, but he was looking at it from his lens, his scope.
Yeah.
I look at it from my scope of how I played the game. Cam was exceptional. And what he was able to do, only a few players. Hell, he was the first to be able to do all of some of the stats that he accomplished. Yeah. So when we talk about game managers, that's a prerequisite to what you got to be able to have anyway. Yeah, now, the problem is if you don't have the ability to push the ball down the field, if you don't have the accuracy to be able to make up for timing and then also understanding with the anticipation of how coverages are going to roll and understand where your receiver is going to be, that's where you have a problem with the quarterback. But I ain't got no problem with a game manager because I done been around quarterbacks who they wasn't even a game manager. They were me playing quarterback. And that's the reason why I had my stat sheet filled all the way up. Not mad at it, but
I think when I think of game managers too, and don't no disrespect intended at all, I think of Peyton Manning, the way he managed the game. And yes, he was a game changer. Also, two things can be
right.
Both can be true.
He was the game changer.
He was a game changer, absolutely. But being on the sideline when I was with the Jags and we played in Indy, watching Peyton Manning control the game, drive after drive after drive, to me, that's a game manager. He didn't have to necessarily air it down the field, I should say, every single time. He could just throw it into the flats, hit the tight end. Remember, what was it, Dallas Clark?
Yeah, Dallas Clark.
Dallas Clark, you know what I'm saying? And the way he controlled the tempo of the game.
No, talk about because me and you kind of alluded to it. We were off camera. You didn't say much. I was waiting for you to bring this up. When we talk about game manage, it don't mean just get first down, 2 yards. The ability for Peyton to be able to be on the field and have 70,000 people quiet.
Yeah.
And he's out here calling plays, seeing, hey, Spike, 51 is coming. Okay, Ringo. Changing the whole play.
Yeah.
Like, that's special, bro.
It is. It takes a talent. So there's nothing wrong with being a game manager. You know what I mean? And I think that when you have that context, if you are a backup quarterback, I think, to my point, you don't have to go in there and change the game. You know what I mean? Some quarterbacks do. You know, you think of like a Brock Purdy, the way he was able to step in after he was a backup quarterback. Everybody doesn't have that. I think of some quarterbacks in the past that were great backups that turned into game changers. Kurt Warner was one.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He was a backup for several years. And you mentioned another quarterback out in San Fran that came in and was probably the best backup quarterback ever.
Yeah.
Steve Young.
Yeah. So, like, I ain't getting caught up in all of that.
Yeah.
Like, I hope you better be able to manage the game if you're a damn NFL quarterback. But the game changers of the ones that are making that $50 million a year around in that area.
Man.
It ain't a lot of them.
Wish I could throw.
Yeah. I wish I could throw too right now.
Nah, but when you look at some of the quarterbacks, I know you mentioned a bunch of quarterbacks, unfortunately, that went down this season. And we talk about those backup quarterbacks coming into the game and what they're doing. Now, there's 3 teams that still have an opportunity out of those quarterbacks to actually make the playoffs. The Bengals, the Browns, and the Colts. They're all in the hunt in the AFC.
Yep.
So out of those teams, which team do you think has a backup quarterback that actually can lead their team to the playoffs?
I want to just say this. Drew Lock was very impressive over a week ago.
Facts.
What he was able to do to come in as a backup and just to hear him talk after the game. He talked about the amount of work that goes into being a backup, and you never do know if you're going to play. Mm-hmm. And you can't go out and perfect what you've learned the entire week because it ain't your time to play.
Yeah.
And he found out he was going to play earlier that day, went out, performed, threw the game-winning touchdown, led his team on a 92-yard drive, mm-hmm. which was beautiful. And so I give a lot of credit to him, but we know Geno is running that ship. He'll be back in. But to that point, I say the Cleveland Browns, Joe Flacco. I think Joe Flacco is he would be my quarterback. Why? Because when I think of Joe Flacco, he has a Super Bowl ring already. He understands what it takes. He wasn't just a game manager. Joe Flacco made plays when he was there at Baltimore when it was time for him to win that championship. I remember that. Also, what also resembles or makes me think about why he's in the best position to lead his team on to the playoffs is because you look at his defense. Number 1 ranked defense in the league when it comes to total defense. What did he have in Baltimore? The same damn type of defense.
Yeah.
The same number 1 passing defense in the league. He has that in Cleveland right now. So when I think about Joe Flacco, I really like him. And the reason why I like him is because even though he was sitting at the crib, chilling, taking the kids around, busting them around and everything. But when you look at him play, you can tell he has that internal clock inside of his head, and he's letting that ball go.
Yeah.
He's letting it go. And we talked about timing. We talking about anticipation. He's one of the quarterbacks where he understands and knows this is where this ball is supposed to go, and I'm going to let it go on time. And so for me, I love that. Defensively, we talked about how well they play on the defensive side. This is the other thing. They are -7 as a team from the turnover margin. That means they're giving the ball away more than they're actually taking it away. And for you to still have the number 1 defense in the league
that's crazy.
At -7, which puts them at roughly around maybe 25 in the league, in the bottom tier of the NFL, man, that's impressive. Yeah. Them boys out there, they like, all right, fellas, we know y'all might turn it over. Bring it on. We still don't take care of business. So for me, like, how can you lose? Like he got a lot of the pieces of the puzzle already around him. Njoku, I think about Njoku, the tight end.
Yeah.
I love his game. Cooper at wide receiver. So I like Joe Flacco, and I'm going to pick him. What about you?
I probably will go with you, man. And for the simple fact that Joe Flacco has done it before. He's won before.
Yep.
So we talked about that pressure. To me, and I'm on the outside looking in, I don't think he has that pressure because he started games, because he's won on the highest level, because
he didn't start out with the team.
He didn't start out with the team. He didn't go to training camp.
Don't expect for me to do nothing.
So that's what I'm saying. He doesn't have to be the Joe Flacco of his prime. He can rely on that defense, rely on the running game, and just, he's had a few turnovers, but not turn the ball over. So yeah, I agree. I think when you talk about backup quarterbacks and quarterbacks in general, what makes them special is obviously leadership, poise, taking care of the football like we just talked about.
Yep.
And you got to have that oomph. It got to be something to you, because we've been on teams, we've been in the league several years. When there's a quarterback that try to get you hyped up and you just looking at him like
locker room lawyer.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you beating your chest for what reason? Like, all right, bro, that's this. You need more people. This is not really who you are, but you still have your other leaders on the team. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Do you remember any backup quarterbacks in your day like that just stood out to you that you were like, yo, this dude got it?
I don't.
One person I can remember, Jake Delhomme with the Panthers.
Damn, you did play with Jake.
Yeah, I played with him twice with the Saints. I got drafted with the Saints. He was a backup. And then years later, when I went to the Panthers, he was now the starting quarterback. Actually, he's still a backup behind Rodney Peete. He was a backup behind Rodney Peete and then became a starter.
So what made Jake so special? Jake, as he took on the starting task of being the quarterback.
He had a different type of swag and confidence. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a bravado thing. It was more so like, I know I can do this. And then he had the chip on the shoulder from being a backup so long. So when he got on the field, it was like, yo, I've seen every defense. I've went against every defense. We talked about it a few weeks ago on the show. He had Leroy Glover rushing him, you know what I'm saying? Because he was on the scout team. I'm blocking. Leroy Glover's a Pro Bowl player. Later on, big Chris Jenkins, Julius Peppers, you know what I'm saying? Those guys, Mike Rucker, Brenson Buckner, that defense, Dan Morgan running around. So he had these Pro Bowl, all-pro type players that he was going against week in and week out, year in and year out. So when it's time for him to get on the field, the game done slowed down. All he got is Musa Muhammad throw the ball to, Steve Smith to throw the ball to, hand it off to Deshaun Foster, hand it off to Stephen Davis. You know what I'm saying?
Like, what skill set did he bring that separated him?
I like the confidence and the poise.
Okay.
The poise. He never got rattled. You know what I mean? He always found a way to make you comfortable even if something went wrong. Things ain't perfect in the game. You know that offensively. Hell, you see it on the sideline. You on defense and y'all look up in the O-line or, might get a hold in or get a bad call or get the quarterback hit or something like that. But the poise and the leadership was like, nah, we still got this. You know what I'm saying? You could have a conversation with him and be like, yo, I used to always say, we in the red zone now, somebody make a play. Because typically if you get in the red zone, chances are you went on a nice little drive. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, now it's time to get off the field. Yep. Somebody make a play. We did our job. We got y'all here. Let's make a play. And Jake's like, yo, I got you. You know what I mean? So again, just that confidence, that poise. He didn't have the strongest arm, but he didn't need the strongest arm.
Because he made up with that with just anticipation and timing.
And they called us cardiac cats because I think it was the 2004 season. We used to literally come back probably 4, 5, 6 games. They would the last drive of the game. And he just doing his thing, had just poise. To me, as an offensive player, the toughest part of the game for me as an offensive lineman was 2-minute drill. If we're down and we got to come back, and you got to come back, bro. Now that's some pressure.
And you're not gonna.
you
ain't doing no run blocks. And guess what? They know you ain't gotta have any run blocks.
Everybody in the stadium know that is a pass because you got to get down the field, make up yards to get in field goal range or to score a touchdown. But Jake was always poised, brought us back week in, week out. You know what I'm saying? Made it to the Super Bowl once, unfortunately didn't win. Made it to the NFC Championship another time, lost that as well. But still, overall, I just liked his poise, and I think to me that's what makes a good a quarterback good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would say my top 3 things are the ability to be able to process information in such a short period of time and to know where you're going to go with the ball. Number two is the accuracy. And I thought Jake did a good job with that when it comes to anticipation.
Yeah.
The timing of knowing when your receivers is going to come out of a break. The anticipation of knowing this defender, usually he loves to jump inside routes. So if I give him a shoulder move, chances are this post is going to be open. So it's like those things. And then the last thing for me is physical ability. You got to have something that you're good at that separates you. You know, so it doesn't mean that you got to be a great scrambler, but that also can mean if you're not a great runner, you can be a guy who's very elusive in the pocket.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't have to run fast to be able to be that guy. And so, you know, when I think about Brock Purdy, for me, the thing that he does well, his ability to be able to process information before the ball is snapped. He knows exactly where he's going to go with it. But then also people talk about his height. I've heard announcers say he's throwing the spots, but he knows his receiver. And he puts the ball in a place to where his receiver is the only place that he will be able to catch it. That's the thing that jumps out for me. You know, whether or not if it's Debo or if it's Brandon Ayuk, he'll put it, if his ball different, his ball is different to Ayuk than it is to Debo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, like, he a baller.
Yeah.
Kid can play.
And get the ball to McCaffrey too. So he got another weapon with CMC.
Yeah, so I mean, he got a whole lot of weapons, and it ain't his fault that the GM put a lot of great talent around him. Hey, it's part of the game. That's what makes the game, that's what makes football the greatest team sport in the world.
I agree.
I believe that.
I agree. And to your point with the talent, that's exactly what I'm saying. If you're a backup quarterback and you got all these starters, just like you said, Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, big Trent Williams blocker for you on one side, probably the best left tackle in the league, Debo, you got all this talent and you're a backup, you insert the backup into the starting position, he'll flourish. That's what I'm saying.
Two.
Am I lying? You just said the same thing.
I did not say that.
You just said it's not your fault.
I've been on teams with backups, and you know what we ended up doing at the end of the year? Backing our ass up, going home. So I ain't finna sit up here and let you sell me on that.
All right, man.
It ain't no plug and play with that.
Easy.
If them cats don't have the tools to be able to go in, I don't care if you have all pros in front. If he can't do his job, he's Jag. You know what Jag means?
Who's that?
Just another guy. Get him up out of here.
So you trying to tell me if you got a backup quarterback in there and all pros all across the offense and you insert that backup quarterback, you don't think that team's still going to be successful?
I've been on the team.
If the team still has success prior to that, prior to losing the quarterback.
Yeah. I give you a prime example. Oh, God. Go back to 2000. Maybe 2011. I don't know. When Peyton Manning had surgery. Peyton Manning went out. The Colts went 2-14 the whole season. They did not invest into a backup quarterback. That's what happened. So, like, hey, I'm telling you, it ain't as easy as people think it is. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I'm with you.
You know, it pays the cost to be the boss.
So that's what you would do if you was a GM or a team ownership. You would definitely invest in a backup quarterback.
Oh, you have to. I think about the Panthers. You look at the Panthers, they got Andy Dalton. They gave him a 2-year deal worth $10 million. But you look at the quarterback from the Chicago Bears, Tyler Bagent, the backup for him, his salary was only $760,000. Bagent. Tyler Bagent. So, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you can mess around and try to, you know, like, all right, well, let me save some money here. Look at the Jets. Hell, the Jets' backup quarterback is their first round pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Aaron Rodgers said a week ago, I'm shutting it down. There's no need for me to come back because we can't make it.
Right.
So point is proven. Thank you.
All right, man. All right. So with that being said, investing in the backup, who you think is the best backup of all time? Who'd you think? If you can remember. Backup turned starter. Got Steve Young. Got Aaron Rodgers, backup turned starter.
You said his name earlier. I maybe I'm gonna fall in love with this story. Kurt Warner. You know, the underdog. You know, he goes to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis had a gang of weapons. He comes in and play. After the starting quarterback goes out, everybody just counted them out anyway, up on the Dick Vermeil. And he came in, and that was the first that we've ever heard of Isaac King. Torrey Holt was starting to shine. We already knew about Isaac Bruce.
Yeah.
Marshall Faulk was there, and it just accentuated his game to the next level.
Then you had the All-Pro at left tackle.
Yep, you had the All-Pro at left tackle.
Big pace.
Big pace, yeah, you're right. London Fletcher was on that defense. Yeah, man, so I would say probably him. You know, just where he came. But then he also went to two other teams and went back to the Super Bowl, took the Arizona Cardinals to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So for me in my time, I would say I give a lot of big shout out to Kurt Warner.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Game manager.
Game changer.
Both things could be true.
Yeah.
But you damn sure got to invest some money into the backup quarterback.
You better invest some money into the backup, or you will be like the New York Jets. Season wasted with the with a Super Bowl defense.
Yeah.
That's brutal, bro. I'm glad we can glad we can agree on that.
There it is.
Behind the Mask.